Well, headed to Cedar Falls, Iowa to play a long-standing rival, and I don't know, Weston, what's the record? Does Wichita State 29-28? We will do everything in our power to avoid a tie, to make sure Wichita State maintains the edge. So excited about it. Feel like our guys are really prepared, and last opportunity to get a road win prior to conference, so we're pretty anxious to play.
I guess last game against Mount Marty, you had that three cross formation.
hmm
Have you guys been able to practice that since then?
I got scrapped after 15 minutes of the first half. There's some personnel. We were a 1.21, so it worked pretty well, and thought we got a ton out of it, and it produced quite a bit. It's just the personnel has to match.
And what's the focus been in practice, leading up to this game?
Yeah, Northern Iowa, like just focused on what they do. They run a ton of flares, they run a ton of zooms, have really good personnel, shoot the ball, pass the ball. So everything has kind of been oriented towards making sure we're prepared for those guys.
I guess after that stint in the Bahamas, how hungry is this team to get the road win?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's a big difference between playing teams close and winning. And so I don't think anybody kind of takes any solace at all of the fact that, hey, we're close. Like at the end, I mean, the chasm between playing people close and winning is monumental. And so, doing the things that are necessary, the discipline issues that are necessary, we can do a good job as a staff. You'll see some personnel changes that are probably different than what we've seen in the past, but we need to do a better job on the glass, defensive rebounding. That's kind of what we need to make sure we're around that 75% mark. They're focused on, they're one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the country, but mainly because they're not going to give up transition points. So you kind of make a choice as a coach. What do you want to give up? What do you want to get? And they do a really good job of getting back. So from an execution standpoint, defensively and offensively, we have to do a really really good job of just being mindful about their strengths versus ours.
It seems like some of the defensive lapses or those guards trying to switch stuff on the perimeter. How do you guys drill that? How do you get better? Is that just communication? What do they have to do to avoid those miscommunicate or just giving up those backdoor cuts basically?
Yeah, I mean, that's a personnel. There's a common component there, and it's not a scheme issue. It's a personnel issue, and so those guys got to get it repped. It's not anything that we do. Sometimes it is just not having much of a library of knowledge or seeing things for a certain amount of times. And what you saw, for instance, with cutting the other day with Mount Marty, instead of cutting towards the rim, they started cutting through the nail. And, there, you'll see a player or two get confused about that stuff. But yeah, you definitely got to talk, touch, take, and there's got to be greater physicality, especially on the Zoom actions that we went against the other night. You're not we weren't switching to touch. We were just switching to switch. So but there's a it's not a scheme as much as it is a common people. So they just need to get some experience.
Can you expand on switch or the touch part? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, one, you got to talk it, and then two, if they are in the vicinity, and that's a subjective word, but if you're in the vicinity, you got to turn around and show your length, and if you can't touch them, you don't take it. And so there are some, for instance, the other day that they're burning a weak side 45 and they're looping it, they're going through the nail from one 45 to the other 45. It's obvious that you can't touch that. And we were trying to switch off ball on that action, and you can't. You'll see a lot of flares just out of Northern Iowa. They do a really good job of getting the basketball in the middle, and then they bottom up flare. And if you're not physical with that, if you don't switch with physicality, like we're getting clipped off of screens because the physicality just isn't there. And so the touching part and the taking part, we're willing to take it. We're just not willing to talk it and touch it. And again, there's some guys who got to get better. You don't see KB involved in those type of segments. So there's some things where guys just can't pass it along to other people.
Will, I can tell, like, did Will, like, take like a head to the head, like, is he
No,
okay?
shot in the eye.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
yeah, he's got poked in the eye. He's fine.
Okay, he's good, okay.
Yep.
Yes, I don't know if you want to talk about this. What was like, I guess, the atmosphere like on that plane right back? I guess last Friday.
Yeah, I mean it was what time did we leave? 7:30 in the morning. Yeah. So I mean, everybody was pretty much asleep for the players. To be honest, when I tell you I did not sleep a single second, not one. And your mind is racing, your brain is racing. What are the things that you need to do? Again, you're up 9 on Western Kentucky, and they go to the zone. We're able to get some traction. It took us a few possessions, but we hadn't seen zone defense this year. After 3 possessions, we're able to get some traction and get some momentum out of it. And then they obviously switched to the box and one, which really stifled us. And so you're just trying to make sure that you can communicate with your guys. Again, with 12 new guys, these are the things that are happening, and this is how we're attacking it. So you're just thinking through all of the things that you're trying to project, like how will that happen more. So I don't think anybody's, again, you're disappointed, but you're not discouraged. I mean, you just realize that people are going to systematically challenge you from a scheme perspective that this group hasn't seen. Can we have enough foresight to kind of project what's going to occur? The truth is the vast majority of coaches, and they've got a game plan that they stick to, and so a lot of them aren't going to deviate from it. So you kind of have to ascertain who's the one that's willing to kind of change what it is they're doing in order to do that. I knew kind of Western Kentucky would be one of those teams. Just because I had talked to their head coach at 7 a.m. that morning, and I I knew he was cooking up something. And we thought we were prepared, but your players kind of have to go through it. So I think all of that was really, to be honest, you hate it that you go 0-3, but I'm really thankful that we had those opportunities, and this isn't happening in January and February. Like, you get plenty of time in order to solve the things that were occurring.
And I guess, how would you say their response has been in the Mount Marty game and in practice?
Yeah, I mean, Mount Marty was great. They knew exactly like what we were doing, and you sometimes you'll get players who get frustrated by trying new things, but I thought we were very deliberate in our approach and just how we did things. And then at the same time, I thought that the second half offensively was fine. What did we retrieve? 6.67% of our misses. I think we were 157. For the third game in a row, though, we've given up over a 1 point per possession. So some of that is due to our preparation. You have 1 day preps. Colorado State being they're number 1 in the country at getting assisted buckets. I mean, we're going to see a similar one, but I think now with the prep time, and that's kind of what you'll have moving forward. With the expectation is we'll be a lot better collectively.
I guess, talk about you and I utilizing a lot of players in Zooms.
hmm
What else has the scouting report kind of said?
Yeah, but very personnel oriented. I mean, they have multiple guys who can really shoot the ball. They're going to put up, north of 50% of their shots are going to be from three. They really pass. I think they're 22nd in the country at being able to pass. And then they also play with a great deal of physicality. So I think all of that is, I mean, it's a huge test on the road. I do think that, one of our weapons is we've been able to flow into some things pretty easily offensively, and we need to see if we can get carryover on that on the road. But anxious to play. We've actually had a really two good days of practice today and yesterday. So anxious to play.
I guess can you just kind of explain what like I guess what you guys are able to flow into?
Yeah, I could, but I'd probably be giving away some calls that other teams may be searching for. So, but there's some pick and roll. There's some adaptability of our fours. I think we have to get better adaptability out of our fours and utilizing that. And then, everything can't necessarily lead to a ball screen. It has to lead to touches, just because our bigs around the rim are such a weapon. I think E-Man has been able to showcase a passing ability down there. And then we do have to get more production from our fours than what we've done. I think TJ's done a good job, but we need somebody else to step up there, whether that's Jarrett, whether that's Dylan. We need other guys to be able to step up because I think a lot of the load right now has been put on